So, whether you're here from being redirected from a reel or from TikTok, or you just ran across the video, the title is Be You. Now, what does that mean? In regards to students, I'm going over a decade in educating students. I've been a child myself. I have children. One thing that happens with young people when they're finding themselves is they venture off into different identities and situations that may not have anything to do with how they were raised or who they really are. I get it. It's normal. It happens. I would be a liar if I say I didn't go through phases where um, I may have been putting on a front for a crowd or whatever the case may be. Let's start with the viewpoint of a child. Okay, elementary school, yeah, you're gonna, whether it be musicians. For me, number one, my first influence was my father. And I really thank him for being the man that he was. I thank my mother for marrying the man that she did. It shaped me and molded me into who I am today, and I'm forever grateful. With that being said, let's see. I went through a phase where there were wrestlers who I wanted to be like. So I'm probably showing my age here, but there was the wrestler called the Junkyard Dog, Ron Simmons. Junkyard Dog's from Louisiana too, by the way. Shout out to Louisiana, my home state. Now, Ron Simmons, the Harlem Heat. That's getting closer to when I was in middle school, but so I'd be in the mirror flexing and buying I had the toys and the championship belts and that type of thing. Okay, cool. Um, you know, for an elementary kid, that's okay. Now in middle school, here's where testosterone's raging. You're really trying to find yourself. So, in elementary school, you wrestle with the other kids. You try to prove yourself to be whatever it is that you're trying to prove. Middle school comes, now you're trying to learn yourself socially and become less awkward, that type of thing. So you may find yourself in different crowds, listening to different types of music, go in different places. Maybe your parents are supervising you a little bit less. Okay, here's where the problem starts when we talk about high school, teenage years, young adulthood, or leading into adulthood, rather, especially in urban environments. But make no mistake about it, other environments have issues too. One environment may have a problem with uh, violence and drugs. Okay, look, if you look at the FBI crime statistics, crime is going to be highest amongst the demographic. So if you're talking about black on black crime, well, amongst black people, that's where it happens. But if you actually look at the statistics for other demographics, they're, because they're the majority in this country, they have higher numbers in those areas. One area may have weed and, if you're going into those areas of society, those parts of society, the underworld, whatever the case may be, marijuana and syrup and, I don't know, heroin. I'm not a drug doing person. I don't know all of the terms and all of the most recent things that people do. But hey, in one aspect of society, people may be affected by that. On the other hand, don't let anyone else fool you, because the opioid epidemic is real. There's Adderall, there's crystal meth. Hey, people have problems, so I'm not going to go into that. What I am going to say, and this is universal, high school is one of those places, depending on where you are, you can have a lot of different communities, a lot of different aspects of society intermingling and crossing and merging into each other. So you can have a kid from the suburbs, if he's at a school where there's other students who are from middle class or lower class demographics. They're going to talk, they're going to mingle. And sometimes what you have is students who find themselves in places they shouldn't be. They think a certain lifestyle or a certain way of doing things is cool. I'll give you a perfect example. So at one point throughout my educational career, I encountered And one thing about me, students who are the textbook definition would be, the buzzword would be at risk. Maybe they come from a lower income demographic. Maybe they have discipline problems in school. Maybe they have reading issues. Maybe they're actually engaging in activities which are not lawful. These students gravitate towards me, and I welcome them with open arms. One thing you learn about young people, if you pay attention in education, they can pick up phonies quickly. They can tell who actually cares, who doesn't. They can tell who's in education because they love being an educator, versus who's just there for a paycheck. They also they open up to you when they trust you. You learn things about these students and about their families and their backgrounds, and that's a precious thing because they've trusted you. They've entrusted you with information they may not share with other people. And then you have to realize there's also certain situations, like students may have home situations which are not the most conducive to learning. You have students who have situations where sometimes when they're at school, that's the only time they eat. Maybe as an educator, you're the only person who smiles at them or shows them some love. These students gravitate towards me. Okay, fine. No problem. Then you have this other dynamic, and this is in my class, maybe not everywhere. I'm giving you an example. As a coach and as the type of male that students perceive me to be, I'm not going to say what that is. You be the judge of that for yourself. But you'll, just like in front of dad, where brothers may try to show who's the better basketball player, who's stronger, and stuff like that. I have students who try to prove points to me, and even though I say, hey, look, now you be you. You don't have to prove anything to me, but they're going to do it. So I get a student who's got some legal situations on his hands from being in parts of society and engaging in activities he shouldn't have been involved in, and now he's in the court system. And what you'll have is students who look up to that particular aspect of this young man, not because he's in school, not because he's trying to remedy his situation, because he's been where he's been and he's fighting cases. Okay, so now you have kids from the suburbs. Man, you got a case? You been to jail? Oh man, tell me, man, you a gangster? You this, you that, you claim this, you do. So, and I tell these young men all the time, look, because I encounter them year by year. Look now, you're trying to get out of your situation, and the devil's going to throw everything he can at you to get you to stay. So stuff that got you in the situation that you're in, people are going to glorify it. And now Satan's saying, hey, you can have female attention, validation from the females. The young men want to follow you. They want to be like you. And then you also have to be careful, young man. And for any young men in this situation, look now, you're also, if you're not careful, you can end up being people's entertainment. They want you to go put on a show. You go fight. You go shoot. You go steal. Yeah. You prove that you're a gangster. That you're this, that you're that. Go prove it. Show me. Let me see that. Because, that's what you said you do, right? Hey, so many tricks, so many traps. But now you get kids who shouldn't be involved in that lifestyle to begin with because their parents work good jobs. They come from a two-parent household, have everything. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. One parent, whatever. Very well taken care of, not wanting for anything, never missed a meal. And now they're joining in these activities. And you have a student trying to be somebody he's not. I had a kid tell me the other day, I just told the young man, hey, you can't be on this part of campus. Oh, man, I'm tired of you. When I see you after school, I'm going to shoot you. Because he's trying to hold up an image in front of everybody else. And I'm like, all right, I hear you, young man. You sure you want that to be your final answer? Because the paperwork won't be on your side. Nothing's going to be on your side in that situation. Plus I know your mom, your dad, your father, your aunt, uncle, your aunt, I know you're not really like that. But okay. So, um, and eventually they get over those things. And thank God if you're in an environment where you can say things like that, do things like that, and be forgiven or be forgotten. Because some places you say those things and people take that stuff seriously. Some places you can wear the different colors because it's cool and it matches your outfit. And some places, man, you need to be careful because they take those things seriously. And, you know, there's consequences and repercussions for anything in life. You need to be who you are. If God didn't make you to be that, your parents didn't raise you to be that way, why are you doing that? Because you aren't ready for the consequences of what it is you're asking for. See, death and life is in the power of the tongue. My mom and well, really more my mom, not necessarily dad. Dad didn't have to say too much. Dad could look a certain way, and it's like, all right, let me calm down for dad get the busting heads up in here. We don't want that. Now, mom, of course, might have to talk a little bit more. She felt that way. I did what my parents told me. I was a good kid for the most part. After I got my first whooping, I just made sure I didn't get caught getting in trouble. But anyway, not to get too far off track. Mom used to say, son, don't let your mouth write a check your behind can't cash. So in other words, don't talk yourself into a situation where you're going to have to prove your way out of it. Take that part for what it's worth. Now, whether it be young ladies, trying to be like, hey, this music and these television shows, I'm going to go back to my dad. I remember the first time he sat down with me and said, okay, son, I shelter you from television and from music because music is changing. This is back in the 80s when gangster rap and hip hop was turning into something else. First movie I ever watched with my dad that was not a children's theme. I want to say I might have been 6, somewhere between 5 and 7. New Jack City. This is starring Wesley Snipes, Ice-T, and Mario Van Peebles. It's about a drug dealer and his crew. This is the crack epidemic in the Bush. It was either Bush or Reagan, maybe the Reagan era. I'm not a historian. I can tell you the presidents, who they are in order, but the actual years and that type of thing. I'm a business education teacher. Not a social studies teacher, but during that era, there was a Republican president. Not that I'm a Republican or a Democrat. I'm a registered independent, by the way. I vote on issues that affect me and my best interests. And as a black man, I need to be conscious of the interests that affect me, my family, so forth and so on. So I don't vote blindly. I vote based on issues. And anyone who's intelligent, any group of people who are intelligent, they vote based on issues which are in their best interest. The world is competitive. There's no way around that. And there's nothing wrong with that. You got to do what you got to do. This is a capitalist society. Anyhow, Reagan era, crack epidemic, Cash Money Brothers, they decide they're going to start selling crack cocaine. And the movie is about, they take over an entire apartment complex. They turn it into a combination of a trap house and a place where the fiends could enjoy their product after they buy it. And there's some real stuff in there, some real issues, the way things really happen, and then some of it's fiction. It's a good movie. You need to go check it out because history repeats itself if we don't learn from history. And we're still having some of the same things going on in society, and some things never will change, and that's okay. New Jack City. It's a good classic movie. Go check it out. Now, with that being said, my father told me, son, we're going to watch this movie together because I want you to understand some things about the world. Some things are in this movie are fictional. Some of these things you will see in real life. Number one, I'm not raising you to be a street person. You will not be doing anything you see in this movie. It is a movie. I'm going to tell you what you see in the movie that you may see in real life. I'm going to show you what's exaggerated. I'm going to show you how to apply this to real life. Unfortunately, I guess you don't have as much of that happening in households nowadays. And I'm not judging anyone. I mean, you do the best you can. We're in an era now where a lot of people may have to work 2 and 3 jobs, and people are not at home with the kids and so forth and so on. I thank God that I was blessed for that to happen. I do make sure that my children understand the difference between reality and fiction. But ladies and gentlemen, young ladies and gentlemen, anyone who may be watching, what you hear on the music is false. They had one particular rapper. I don't want to get copyright strikes and this type of thing. Well, I guess I'm not showing the video, so I shouldn't get a copyright strike. This rapper Cardi B, this is the one. Apparently, she was talking about how she doesn't cook and clean for her husband and that type of thing. And then maybe last summer or the summer before, the husband is that Quavo or Offset, whichever one it is. I don't know these new rappers. The husband decides to take his camera phone and say, "Look, I know what you hear on the videos, but that's my wife cleaning this house up. This is a millionaire couple. So they tell you go be one way, but at home they're another way." The rapper Lil Jon from the 90s, early 2000s. Educated man. I want to say he has a degree from Morehouse University in Atlanta. Very well spoken, but the music, because of what people buy, sounds a certain way. Now, you'll know your rappers who really do these things that they say they do because they go to jail. Some of them come out, and when they come out, they behave differently. But that's a different story for a different day. That's not my business. That's not my concern. My concern is the youth. Don't let somebody who's getting your entertainment money give you a false image. You take the false image and run with it and ruin your life while they living in Beverly Hills and their children are in private schools. Some of those folks who make that music, they don't even let their kids listen to it. I maybe need to give you some examples later on because I don't have the examples right now. Be you. You're the best you that there is because you're the original you. Don't imitate other people. Now, if there's something positive you can gather from somebody, do it. If there's something successful that you can mimic from someone, do it. But even then, you still have to be yourself. There also are times when maybe you need to adjust yourself. If you aren't getting the results you need to get for yourself as a person, okay, you make changes to you, but you still be you and you make positive changes. But chasing images, chasing material things, falling outside of the bounds of being a law-abiding citizen, these things do not turn out well for you in the future. Be you. Take care of yourself. Be blessed. Appreciate what you have. Take advantage of opportunities while you're in school because like I tell my students all the time, look, right now while you have people in front of you saying, hey, do what you need to do. I'll help you. Do you want to learn this? Do you want to learn that? While you have those opportunities, do it. Because when you leave high school, you don't have people reaching out and handing out and trying to help you and trying to encourage you and trying to darn near force you to do what you need to do. At that point, it is sink or swim. Thank you so much for your time. Like, share, subscribe, follow me on other social media platforms. I'll see you again on Renaissance Man Education.